Yeah, thanks everyone for coming. I know it's early on Saturday morning. We, we are very honored to have you join us for a whole day event. So, like in opening, I'm supposed to give an overview of today's talks and the discussions, and thank you for people online. So first, I'm Steve, and I'm a professor here in Taiwan University, and also helping the DiQi team. DiQi pronounced as DCHI, for example, it's DiQi. So don't pronounce it as DiQi or DiQi. Okay, so today's theme is public ledger technology, Bitcoin and the blockchain. One example of public ledger technology, and I can, for example, so how to move the screen. So how to go to the next slide, for example. Okay. So, the vision of this international congress on Bitcoin and the blockchain is to espouse a vision of public ledger technology, and we believe that when we have public ledger such as Bitcoin blockchain that everyone can trust, and it's protected by mathematics, then it's an open protocol that encourage innovation. So just like in Internet 1.0, 20 years ago, Mark Andreessen released this Mosaic browser. They follow the HTTP protocol. Then a lot of innovation came about. So we have different people doing different browsers, and also different people working on web server and the contents. So 20 years later, now in 2015, we hope that with this public ledger technology, then we will also encourage the division of labor and the open innovation as well. So that people don't need to all subscribe to Visa. For Visa network, for example, if you have customers holding MasterCard, or even Indian in China, then you may not be able to transact in a Visa store. And so that's the problem with the cross system on the left. So here, both the merchants and the customers need to be Visa clients. Only when you are Visa clients on both sides can you transact. If you are, like I said, if you are MasterCard holder, you may not be able to transact. And then in an open system, like in blockchain system, that blockchain is one of the public ledger technology that I mentioned. And then you can cut across internationally, cut across different domains. As long as they follow an open protocol, just like in Internet 1.0 era, people can follow the HTTP protocol. So at that time, you don't need to worry if you are using say Internet Explorer or Mosaic browser. As long as they follow the HTTP protocol, you can use any browser to visit any websites, and the innovation can come. And so that in that time, in the Internet 1.0, it's the Internet of information exchange. And here in Internet 2.0 era, we think it can be the Internet of values exchange, not just the emailing each other texts, but you can even send value goods to each other through this Internet 2.0 era. So we're thinking, what if 30 years from now, if we think big, maybe there's no need for different silos like Visa or Master. Just like 20 years ago, a lot of people were using AOL, like American Online, or BitNet, or CompuServe, or like IPX from Novell. There are different silos, different cross systems. But today, I think we are entering a new era, and this era is as follows. Like if we have this public ledger that's protected by mathematics and that everyone trusts, then we can have clients on one side and let me say customers on one side and the merchants or enterprise on the other side, and they all follow the open public ledger protocol, just like HTTP protocol in the Internet's 1.0 era. And then this way, we hope that innovation will come, and also the division of labor can happen. Right now, there's no division of labor. Like Visa need to talk to every customer to convince them to hold on to the Visa card. And also Visa need to talk to every merchant to make sure their payment gateway is using Visa. So there's no division of labor. It's all under one company, that Visa. In the future, we hope that we are ushering into this Internet 2.0 era with the help of public ledger technology. Think public ledger like the following. We can show you in the next slides. So imagine you have a public ledger that everyone trusts, just like the Bitcoin blockchain, and everyone can read it. So it's very credible. And once in a while, you may want to update the public ledger if you have the private key. And when you have the key, you can update the entry in the public ledger with the private key. So the private key will correspond to a public key, and after hashing, it designates an address in the public ledger. So in short, you can read. Everyone can read this public ledger, and once in a while you can even write to the public ledger, and everyone can check. And this writing is protected by private key and the cryptography and also game theory. So in this example, say Alice sends $10 to DiQi to Bob. This is Alice and this is Bob, and then everyone can see the transaction. So it's public. It's credible, and then everyone can hold on to the ledger. They can look at the ledger. They can even keep a copy of a ledger. And so that in this public ledger system, that anyone can see what's going on. It's like open data today, and the ledger itself is immutable. Like I mentioned, it's protected by cryptography and game theory. So after talking about the public ledger, let me quickly espouse the 3 key points. One is public. Public refers to credible, and people can see it, and it's open. And the ledger refers to immutable history, and it's a brand new data store. And the ledger is immutable because, let's say, every 10 minutes you have a new ledger block, and then all the ledger blocks are chained together. That's why it's called blockchain. So it's blocks that are chained together. And with this public ledger technology, then we can that we are at the door of the new era. That's the Internet 2.0 era. Then the records or currency that are recorded in the public ledger can have values. So it's a new world. Very exciting. So let's talk about the public part first. before we go into the details on the technology and the ledger stuff. So there are three credibility choices. If you center the credibility on the government or like monopoly, then you have a centralized system, and it's a question of whether you trust this single point of failure, because the government can go corrupt, and then you are like under the mercy of dictatorship, for example, and so it's a dangerous proposition. A second choice is that you only trust yourself. This is pushing the trust system to another extreme. Before it's the centralized system, and you are running into the risk of dictatorship. And the other side is can be anarchy if you are not careful enough. So this is a true distributed system to the extreme. Every node can only trust himself or herself. And so in this worst case, that because you trust no one else, you have to keep the entire ledger to yourself. It's a highly redundant system. And so like a central bank today is like a scenario one here. So it's a centralized system. And the Bitcoin system today is assuming a zero trust system. You trust no one else. So it's the example 2 here. And so what's our third choice? The next one is, the third choice is neither centralized nor totally distributed. So the exhibit A is the centralized system, and exhibit C is the distributed system, like Bitcoin. Every node is distributed, fully distributed, and we are using this middle of the road approach. So this is the decentralized system. You have nodes, some nodes that you trust. This reflects on the real world better, because in the real world you do trust at least something. Otherwise, human being cannot function well. If you trust no one else but yourself, then there's a lot of overhead involved. So there's a value of zero trust system. There's always a value for this decentralized system that we call it DiQi today. So to quickly summarize here, like on the right we have high overheads, totally distributed system, and in the middle we have this hybrid system. You trust some nodes that we call it alliance. We trust those alliance nodes, and then the rest we don't trust. Just like in Bitcoin network, you trust no one. So that's the public part in the world, public ledger technology. Okay, next I will talk about the ledger, the word ledger. I just explained the how credible, where you want to place your trust in the previous slides. Here in this slide, I want to explain why this ledger technology allow you to have immutable history, because every blocks are chained together. So as you can imagine, if you corrupt any of them, you will have domino effects because you may collapse the whole system. So you cannot go back and like sneakily change anything. So this immutable history is straightforward. It's the essence of the word blockchain. So it's every blocks are chained together. So the present depends on the past. If the past is changed, then the present won't exist, and it's protected by mathematics, such as cryptography, because every block is protected by a hash, and there's ECDSA, and also there's SHA-256D is protected by two cryptography technologies, and so you cannot go back and alter 1 bit and try to have your bank accounts grow by 10 times. So this, for example, for this hashing function is a one-way function, and you alter one side, the other side will change. You say you alter one side on 1 bit, the other side will change dramatically. So you cannot do another way because it's one-way function, and also you cannot change 1 bit here, try to increase your bank account balance. So it's protected by mathematics such as cryptography and also game theory as well. Because 1 week ago, John Nash passed away in a car accident. In the Nash equilibrium, he studied this game theory field. So Bitcoin or blockchain technology also benefits from the game theory he pioneered a long time ago. So it's a good time to pay tribute to him because I think this is a tragedy 1 week ago that he passed away. But coming back here, because you have distributed system in the public ledger technology, you have to ensure, you have to hope like everyone in this distributed network, most of them will try to confess the truth instead of collude to come up with a corrupted ledger. That we want this ledger to be genuine, and how do you ensure that everyone is doing their best in preserving the truth? And it's best explained by John Nash, Prisoner's Dilemma, or Nash Equilibrium. So in the Prisoner's Dilemma, in the game theory, then most people will try to confess to reach the equilibrium. So in the Bitcoin network, most nodes in the network will also try to confess the truth. We'll go into more details in the following talks, but you can see the beauty of this public ledger technology is cut across many disciplines, such as the cryptography and the game theory I just mentioned. But it also got a good contribution from the economics and the financial policy and many different areas. And in fact, this public ledger technology is most powerful when you cut across different domains. Think about it, that in the public ledger technology, you don't need to trust authority. You don't need to bet your future on any corrupt government. And so, in this world, you can eliminate any need of a middleman. You don't need to pay like a Visa 3% transaction fee, and you don't need to trust the Federal Reserves will do their best job in controlling inflation and so on. So these technologies, I think, is a very big breakthrough, because when I talk to the business school people, if they don't understand computer science and cryptography, it's very hard for them to imagine that in a zero trust system, like you can have immutable history that everyone can trust. So if they don't understand cryptography and the game theory and so on, they cannot imagine very well like how come when in a system when you don't have a central bank and you just have public ledger, you can trust that any updates to this public ledger is true. So that you don't need central bank to mediate or to charge you high fees. It's hard for them to imagine, but that's the beauty of this public ledger technology. I think it's the most fascinating thing that's in my life. When I first encountered this a few years ago, when I saw this public ledger technology allow you to use computer science technology to influence the business that I just mentioned, be it banking or financing or many different areas. It's interdisciplinary, so it's very fascinating. And let me now quickly go over the landscape of this public ledger technology. I give you an overview of this potential Internet 2.0 technology. So this is a Yellowstone picture. So DiQi in Chinese means a lot of air from the, literally means a lot of air coming from the earth. So in Chinese, like 接地气 means you have a ground truth, sort of. So I've categorized these different public ledger technologies into 4 categories. The first one is the proof of existence. This is straightforward. When you have immutable history, you are proving its existence. Whatever that's recorded in the public ledger, it truly exists. And that's the tier 1. For example, like school chain or think chain. School chains, by the way, school stands for stock keeping units or factome. So those companies, they are like flourishing today. They are trying to prove this artwork does exist, and this medicine is real. For example, this drug is correct. We have a lot of food safety issues in Taiwan or China. So a lot of people are innovating in this area using the public ledger technology. And the tier 2 is the virtual currency world. Okay, it's like Bitcoin and DiQi and so on. And tier 3 is the smart property. It's talking about the assets registry. For example, in the Bitcoin world, the currency is not backed by real assets. So in tier 2, they are just pure currency. It's not backed up by gold or real assets. But in the asset registry tier, the tier 3, like we have currency backed by real assets, such as the system we have been working on for the past year, like the DiQi for IPO system. Then those coins, so-called coins, are really backed by the royalty points. For example, you can really use this DiQi IPO. We call it the IGFM. Okay, the IPO money, IPO. Let me not use the word money. Like the IPO points, IPO coupon points, or royalties points, and so on, to get real assets. You can get you can get even, for example, iPhone 6 using the royalty points, or you can like use different points for different conglomerates. Apple is just one of them. And then the tier 4 is the exchange for any assets. So this is like the DiQi exchange that we have been working on. So this can be like for stock exchange, just like Nasdaq and or maybe export or maybe energy internet. They can use this DiQi exchange. So in short, that tier 1 is proving existence, and tier 2 is the virtual currency, and that Bitcoin started in 2009 is one of them. And then smart property is like DiQi for IPO last in 2014, and the exchange is like, I think the new thing we have been working on patiently, because this can be for any kind of exchange, market exchange, and also you can even have smart contracts in this world. Okay. So let me quickly go through these 4 tiers. Tier 1 is straightforward because immutable history means proving its existence. Okay, And the tier 2 is virtual currency. Chris Dixon once said there are 3 eras of currency, commodity-based and politically based, just like a fiat, that every country issue its own currency. And the third is mathematics-based, just like Bitcoin or DiQi. So we have come from this first era that's based on gold or shares, on like second era, like the fiat era, and now we are entering the third era. Okay, and the tier 3 is that we tokenize the real world assets on blockchain. This can be tangible assets, just like cars, gold or silver, or intangible assets, just like your ideas, your copyrights, stocks, and so on. Royalty points example is like Apple. Okay, then tier 4 is the exchangeable smart properties. It's a decentralized exchange. We're working on building this exchange into the blockchain protocol. In the Bitcoin world, in the Bitcoin protocol, there's no idea of exchange at the protocol level, and so you had a problem with Mt. Gox exchange or MyCoin exchange, that where the centralized exchange can corrupt. And now in this tier 4 that we are working on, we try to embed, we try to innovate in the protocol level and make sure the exchange is decentralized itself. So in conclusion, the way I look at this, like first, with the public ledger technology, we are cutting down the complexity from order n squared to order n. That here, say this can be easy card, or in Chinese, 悠游卡. So easy card, or it can be octopus in Hong Kong. Like in Chinese is 八达通 in China, in Hong Kong. So you can have many different systems. But when you travel from Taiwan to Hong Kong, your easy cards in Taiwan cannot be used in Hong Kong. And for any of these different for notes to exchange, that needs a lot of middlemen and negotiation and arguing and transaction overhead and so on. So what if you add one more city? Each time you have to negotiate with any other nodes. So it's an n squared complexity, because every node needs to talk to every node first before they can reach any agreements. But if you have public ledger technology, then say Taiwan Easy Card is here and the Hong Kong Octopus card is here. If they all trust this so-called new HTTP, then you can cut down the complexity, because now when you have n peers, you just need all talk to this public ledger. So let me try to explain quickly a bit further. In the Internet 1.0 era, before you have many silos, just like I mentioned in the beginning of this talk. You have AOL and IPX from Novell and Bitnet, CompuServe, and so many of them. And if any of them were to talk to each other, they need to adapt. They need to have protocol exchange. But when HTTP came about, or Internet, TCP/IP came about, then you just need to talk TCP/IP. Your old silo network just need to adapt to the new public TCP/IP standard. And at the higher level, let's not just talk at the lower TCP/IP level, but even at the higher level, like HTTP level, now you don't need to worry. You are using Chrome browser or Safari browser or Firefox browser. It doesn't matter, as long as they follow the HTTP protocol, you don't need to worry. So it's cutting down the complexity from n squared to order n. And similarly, in the Internet 2.0 era, we believe the public ledger may be the TCP/IP of money, because as long as they have this public ledger that everyone trusts, then you have simpler problem. Your complexity is lower. You eliminate you eliminate the overhead of all the middlemen, and also you no longer need to subject to the risk of the middleman, such as Visa. Before you have to trust Visa or trust something because it's a closed system. Here in this open system, it's protected by mathematics, and then you trust this public ledger, and then you are done. And so this way, in this open protocol, this encourage the innovation and the division of labor. Before, if you are a consumer here, you have a Visa card, but if you go to a merchant that don't use Visa card, say they are in China and they don't use Visa card, and then you cannot transact here. So it's a closed system, and you are lucky if you go to a store that accepts all the cards you have, right? So it's a closed system with high overhead. The figure looks simple, but there's a lot of complexity inside the closed system that you cannot see, and there's a lot of complexity here. And the figure here is the world on the right is the world we think will encourage a lot of innovation, because one peer can be a consumer wallet, for example, and different company can do wallet, and another company can do clearinghouse for merchants, can do payment gateway here, as long as they all follow the public ledger technology or public ledger protocol here. They can have division of labor. Before, Visa need to do everything. They need to talk to the consumer and talk to the merchants. They have to bring everyone under Visa umbrella for them to have transactions. But now you can have division of labor and innovation. That's why I think it's very exciting that we can now start thinking the next internet, the Internet 2.0. We can even start thinking about the IETF here. That when you have different parties agreeing on the common open protocol like IETF, and start drafting different requests for comments for internet. And here, the new IETF can do the similar thing for the coming era. And now I think I should let Solomon go into more details on the potential protocols possibilities here. So let's switch to the next presentation. And I forgot to mention, after each talk we'll have a panel on the topic time. In Chinese, the 自由评议 time, and so after Solomon finish his part, then two of us together will have this wonderful